Good evening to all my respected elders, brothers and sisters. Today is International Children's Book Day. So I'm present here to say a story about a girl named Mina. Myself and Mashmita from Wilder Flower Sundar Secondary School. I read in class 4. So now I'll start my story. The story topic is The Girl Who Hated Books, written by Manjusha Pawaji. Once, there was a girl named Meena. If you looked up her name in a book, you would find that it means fish in ancient Sanskrit. But Meena did not know that because she never looked up anywhere anything. She hated to read and she hated books. They were always in the way, she said, and this was true because in her house books were everywhere, not just on the bookshelves and beside tables, where books usually are, but in all short places where books usually are not. There were books in drawers and bags, in cupboards and chests. There were books on sofa and books on stairs, books stuffed in the fireplace and stuffed on the chairs. Worse, still her parents were always bringing home more books. They kept buying books and borrowing books and ordering books from catalogs. They read at breakfast and lunch and dinner. But when they asked Meena if she wanted to read, she would stamp her feet and shout, "I hate books." And when they tried to read out loud to her, she would put her hands over her ears and shout even louder, "I hate books." There were probably only one person in the world who hated books more than Meena, and that was her cat, Max. Long time ago, when he was a kitten, an atlas had fallen on his tail. It had bent the teeth, and from that on, it tried to stay on top of the books rather than below them. One morning, after Meena moved all books out of the sink to brush her teeth, she went to the kitchen to get breakfast for herself and Max. But she climbed onto a stack of encyclopedias so she could reach the cereal. Then she opened the fridge and moved a pile of magazines. That the milk. She poured some for herself and some for Max. "Max," she called, "breakfast is ready." But Max did not come. She tried again. "Max," she called, "breakfast is ready." He still did not come. Where could he be? She wondered. She looked in the bathtub and behind the dryers. She looked under the stairs and on top of the clock. She found more books, but she did not find Max. Suddenly, she heard a loud meow. She ran into the dining room, and there he was, stuck on top of the tallest stack of books in the house. It was made up of all the books her parents kept buying. Oh, and she kept refusing to read. Middle were alphabet books and nursery rhymes. At the top right by the ceiling were fairy tales and adventure stories. They were all covered in dust. "Do not worry, Max," Mina called out to him. "I will rescue you." She started to climb the pile of books. At first, it it was easy because the picture book had hard covers and she felt as if she were climbing stairs. But when she reached the paperbacks, her foot slipped on a book of poetry, lost her balance, and started to slide. Crush! The books went flying. They fell everywhere, which made the bindings cracky. Opened for the very first time and the pages flying upwards. As they felt strange, things began to happen. People and animals started falling out of the pages and tumbling to the ground. They dropped one on top of the other, scattering the book and toppling the chairs. There were princes and princesses, fairies and frogs, then a wolf and a purple giraffe and a troll on a log. There were elephants and mirrors and a bunch of monkeys, twisted up in themselves. But most of all, there were rabbits falling this way and that. Wild rabbits and white rabbits, and rabbits with hats. Mina sat there in the middle of it all. To surprise to move, I thought books were full of words, not rubbish. She said as six more came rolling out of a book beside her. By now, she could not recognize the dining room at all. The elephant was balancing on a coffee table, juggling the good china plates. The monkeys had torn down the curtains and were using them as capes. And the rabbits were nibbling on the table legs. Stop! Cried Mina. Go back! But there was so much going on that no one heard her speak. She grabbed the nearest rabbit and tried to stuff him into a cookbook, but they scared him so much. He wriggled out of Nina's hand and ran away. She opened another book and four ducks flew out. She slammed it shut again. This would not work, said Nina. I did not know who goes in which book. She thought for a minute. I know, she said. I will go to everyone and ask them where they belong. They started with one strange creature she did not recognize at all. Who are you? She asked. A is for aardvark, the animal said angrily, and marched off in search of her alphabet. Then she had another idea. She picked up the nearest book and began to read aloud. Upon a time, Mina began. In a land far, far away, slowly the creatures stopped jumping and chattering. They came closer and closer to her. What happened next? Soon, they were all sitting in a circle around her, listening to her speech. When Mina reached the top of the second page, the cats in the circle jumped out. That's us, they cried. That's our page, that's our book. They leaped up, out on the circle jumped. She grabbed another story. One by one, she began reading all her books, and one by one, the creature found out where they belonged. At last, there was just one little rabbit in a little blue boat left in the room. Nina slowly picked up a book. It was a tale of Peter Rabbit. Maybe I could keep this rabbit with me, she thought. She was beginning to feel lonely now that everyone else was gone. But the little rabbit stood in the front of her.